on the channel, we roll out with Super 7 Ultimate Edition Series 1 Transformers Optimus Prime.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Super 7 Ultimate Edition unboxing and review. It seems like we got new Ultimate Editions about every single day, and today we've got first time ever Series 1 Transformers Ultimate Editions, and we've got Optimus Prime. No bigger way to start it off than with Optimus, the leader of the Autobots. But remember, for all your Super 7 needs and a whole lot more, to hit up Big Bad Toy Store. Link in the description below. And of course, this unboxing review, we're going to do like all the other ones on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to see where it goes from there. So Super 7, no strangers to a lot of properties we know and love. They've got Power Rangers. They've got heavy metal musicians, as we saw Slayer just recently announced. Of course, we got G.I. Joe. We've got Thundercats. We had He-Man. We've had a lot of the 80s iconic properties. And very interesting step into the Transformers universe, as these Transformers do not transform. So if a Transformer doesn't transform, is it really a Transformer? Deep thoughts with Kyle today. But that being said, longtime viewers of my channel here, when we first started, it was about the time the Transformers Red Edition from Hasbro came out, and I was pretty jazzed up. I was pretty fired up about them because I really do. Maybe I'm a weird anomaly out there, but I'm all in for Transformers that don't transform. It was cool enough when I was a little kid. Now I really want Transformers either in their, car mode, for example, or truck mode in this point, or actually their robot mode. One or the other. I don't display back and forth. I don't. And honestly, 99% of my Transformers I display in robot mode. I think that looks the best. There is a few different. The Insecticons, the Dinobots, I do like them in their animal mode, but the rest of them I like in robot mode. So this is speaking up, right up my tree, right what I'm looking for here. That being said, we do know we got some coming in their alt modes. Grimlock coming, but I'm okay once again with my ruling there. So Grimlock's coming, but we're getting Megatron, we're getting some of the heavy hitters, but they're also putting some deep characters in there, which is really cool for longtime fans. A little too deep maybe in Series 1. I think Series 1 you got to go in pretty hot to make a statement, and hopefully that enough people will buy that really warrants a Series 2, Series 3, and so on. But that is what it is, and that's Super 7, the way they're going to market here. But I'm excited for these. I'm not going to say I'm all in quite yet. I definitely have Megatron on order. I have Grimlock on order. We'll see how much I like this one to determine if I'm going to buy any of the other ones. But obviously, as we know, toy budgets are tough right now with inflation. Everything going up in price. There's only so much you can do, but we'll see. I've been looking for a line like this. Transformers has been one of my biggest gripes in toy collecting. I don't know how many times I've started a line, kept it for a few years, sold it, back and forth, back and forth. It's just, Transformers, their biggest issue to me is they can't get the scaling correct, and they can't stick with a formula long enough. It's just like, okay, we did this for a year and a half, maybe 2 years at most. Now we're switching it all and making us buy Optimus Prime and everybody all over again. I get the business aspect of it, but I want just a guy, I want the team that can just sit there, be uniform, look really good, and it just feels like there's not enough time to get that done. But we'll see. Super 7 may bring that home for us. So enough jibber jabber, as Mr. T would say. Let's dive into it. Let's take a look at all the packaging, all that fun stuff here. Of course, we get the outer shell packaging. Always save these. The Transformers logo right there. You know who it is, Optimus Prime. So always appreciate those to keep these protected a little bit more. Then you get the outer space cover. Space cover? Sure, why not? Or a slip cover. But very cool robot-looking Optimus Prime right there. Very old-school computer technology. Very cool. I like that a whole lot. And then on the side, it says Optimus Prime. Very slick packaging here. Looks really good. Autobots on that side. Ultimates on the top. Warnings, UPCs, Transformer logo, all that fun stuff here. And then on the very back, you get the old Autobots logo. Very cool, sleek packaging. Very big packaging. Very similar to Mum-Ra, which we unboxed not too long ago on the channel. Stick this off to the side. Then you get down to it. You get down to old Optimus Prime, and look at all those accessories in there. Just Accessory City. You get the basketball. You get all kinds of stuff. Big window box. A little bit of a weight to Optimus Prime as well, which I do appreciate that. You get his blaster. We'll dig into everything he comes with here when we get him out of the package. Of course, there's that Transformers logo, so iconic to somebody like me that grew up watching as a little kid. Of course, Prime there, and then the cool packaging design, the color transitions, a lot going on there. Very cool. Then I guess you'd call that the tail of the tape. It's kind of ranking his speed and power and all that kind of stuff, skill. So that is kind of cool, a little tail of the tape without being an official tail of the tape. I'm there for it. Looks pretty good. So there it is. There is the packaging for Optimus Prime Super 7 Ultimate. Now we got to break him out of the package, see what all the fuss is about. So hold on. Let me get him out of the package, and we'll be right back. All right, we've got Optimus Prime out of the package, ready to go. Super 7 Ultimate Series 1, of course. And we're going to start it off like we usually do with the accessories. And we better start with some hands first. See what we got going on here with hands for Optimus Prime, but also the packaging, of course, got everything out. Clear some room out of here. We'll put him over to the side. But hand-wise, we, of course, get the pointer finger. A good leader should always be having a pointing finger. Hulk Hogan, all those guys. You know, they're always saying, what you gonna do, brother? Or they're saying, Autobots, Decepticons, that way. Something like that. But we do get the pointer finger here. All one-color plastic, blue, of course, to match Optimus Prime. But we got that pointer finger here. He does come stock with two fisted hands. I don't care if it's a robot or a human. Every action figure should at least have one fisted hand, and he's ready to throw down right out of the package with two fisted hands. You do get a trigger hand here for his gun. It'll hold his gun in his hand, so you got to have one of those for Optimus Prime. And his patented blaster, of course. You get a little maniacal hand here, kind of an open hand going on. Depending, maybe this could be the basketball hand. We'll talk the basketball here in a second. And then really speaking of a basketball hand here is the old basketball hand. It has a little plug. You can fit the basketball in, which brings us to the basketball accessory. You plug this bad boy in right like so, and bam, he's palming that basketball. He's ready to throw down. He's ready to shoot some hoops, as I'm ready to throw some accessories around. But this is pretty cool. Much like the surfboard we'll talk about here, a little bit iconic from a moment in time in the episode, a little tongue-in-cheek. Reminds me of playing basketball with my dad. You guys see my dad on the channel. He's 6'8". He's a tall dude. He can palm a basketball. And we used to play basketball as a kid, and he would always palm the ball, and he'd do one of these things. He'd put it in your face, and he'd pull it back. He'd be all over the place. It was really annoying to a little kid that could barely hold it with two hands. But he was really good. He could palm that thing. That's what this reminds me of. But it definitely looks like a basketball. I got to think the first Super 7 basketball accessory very well could be here with this Optimus Prime. But it looks really cool. And we'll get some glamour shots of all these things like we normally do. And then I mentioned the surfboard. Once again, another tongue-in-cheek moment from the cartoon where he was on a surfboard. Where do you find a surfboard this big for Optimus Prime? It's just kind of ironic he has this thing laying around. But, you know, he's just a chill dude, a surfer bro at the end of the day. Old Optimus, all one color here. I could see figure photographers maybe using other figures on here. I would think the peg stands would fit other Ultimate Editions, so hey, why not throw Lion-O on a surfboard? Maybe Michelangelo hops on this surfboard. Who knows? But there's limitless possibilities here for this surfboard. But very cool, but a very big surfboard. A longboard, one might say. So we got that going on. Then you get down to the blaster. Look at this blaster. Very iconic. Very plain Jane, even in the cartoon, the movie, whatever you want to call, where we've seen this many a times. But it's very plain, but boy, it is iconic. You know exactly. If I see this, I say, oh, this is Optimus Prime's. Nice detail here. One color as it's always been. But he definitely has to have this, an iconic weapon for Optimus Prime, at least for me, where I sit. And, of course, you know, I sit right here at this table. So there you go. Speaking of iconic weapons, once again, plugs in the hand is his, I don't know what you ever call this thing. It's obviously an axe, but it's like almost like a robot. Well, he is a robot. That makes sense, too. I don't know. He just makes this thing appear. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but very cool, awesome weapon. We've seen him use a few different times. It almost looks like a Jolly Rancher consistency. You can kind of see through it. It's, you know, it's like a peach Jolly Rancher is what this almost looks like. Really dark here, and then it really lightens through where you can see through the piece down here. But very, very cool. I know exactly what this is. We've seen this many times in the cartoon. Good to get this as a secondary weapon for him. So I do like that a whole lot. The Matrix of Leadership. We've seen this in toy form quite a few times. Good paint sculpt. Good sculpting, good paint, no splash, no paint inconsistencies here, so that is always appreciated. Always tough to get that blue and yellow without some paint smear going on, and this is very, very clean. Always cool to have the Matrix. Gotta have this. He later passed it on to our boy Ultra Magnus and Hot Rod, two of my other favorites. A lot of people hate Hot Rod. I'm all in. I was of the age, I was all in on Hot Rod. But you got him right there, the Matrix. Get an extra head for Optimus Prime. Always appreciate the extra heads going on. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll compare the heads. And then you get, what is it, Spike Wiki? Daniel and Spike. Spike, I believe, the dad, the father. This is interesting enough for Power Ranger fans, if there are any Power Ranger fans watching this. As we know, Super 7 Ultimate Edition Power Rangers are just around the corner here. We are getting some of their Zords, and they're coming with small figures to go alongside that of the Power Rangers. Have to assume this will be very similar to what we get right here. Of Spike, of course, in the show, in the cartoon, the original cartoon, always looking like he just walked off the construction site all the time. He never changed his clothes, always wearing this, always has his hard hat on. You can't really see any real details, but it's just enough to be dangerous, I guess we'll call this. And I expect a lot of Power Ranger Ultimate figures will have this very similar kind of thing going on here. But it is cool. It makes Optimus seem bigger than he actually is, making help with that scaling and all that kind of stuff. So we do have that going on. And we keep marching on, and I have no idea what this is. So it's been maybe 5 years since I watched the cartoon. I watched it all through once again, and I do not recall in a million years what this is for. It's like some kind of effect or something. Was this something with him surfboarding? Was this something he came across in the ocean? It's got little spikes on it, different coloring to it. Very, very neat. I just cannot for the life of me remember what this is, and after the review, I'm just going to have to look it up. But it's another accessory. It's one of those deep-cut accessories. I have to assume, unless I'm just missing something, we get this here. But it can be molded, moved around, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. I have no idea what it is. And then it looks like a jetpack for Optimus Prime. Hopefully this fits in. Oh yeah, I think this just slides right in the back, and it should. Yep, slides in the back. So you get the jetpack for Optimus Prime. He can be flying through the air, throw the jetpack on. Nice touch, because everybody loved a jetpack in the 80s. Of course, the opening to the G.I. Joe animated movie. Coming back to theaters June 23rd and June 25th, just for my birthday weekend. Of course, Duke, the classic, him getting the American flag, flying it up to Statue of Liberty. That's the definition, that's the zenith for jetpacks. But Optimus Prime getting himself one as well. Good sculpt here, the black, silver, gray. Looks really good. I'm all in so far. I like these accessories. A lot of accessories, as you can see with this one. Now we jump into Optimus Prime. Now we get down to the brass tacks, see what we're thinking of. And of course, a Transformer that doesn't transform, sacrilegious to a lot of people. I'm guessing there's a lot of Transformer fans that are totally turned off on this, just like the RED line from Hasbro. Now, I said it earlier, that RED line from Hasbro, one of the first unboxings way back in the channel, I straight up said, hottest of hot garbage. Hot garbage, don't ever buy these, and I haven't bought any since. When everybody is in the same scale, it does not make sense to me. Super 7 sounds like they are taking scale into play, and they're going to scale all these guys appropriately. So fingers crossed that is the case. That's what I've been wanting for my Transformers. I want G1 look. I want the original animated kind of color going on, is what I should say. I want them to look like they walked right off the animated cartoon. And I want them all in scale. And I want them in robot mode, except for the Dinobots. So there you go. But we'll see. But this thing is interesting. Now this, Super 7s aren't known for their crazy articulation. There's a lot of people that gripe about their articulation, saying, no double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. We don't get any of that kind of stuff. And I do defend that to some cases, because I'm not somebody that needs all that stuff. It's very nice. I don't want it to go away. It's nice. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have pinless joints, because I'm displaying these. I'm not playing with them. I don't think there's a lot of kids playing with these that you need a ton of articulation. I just need enough articulation to be dangerous, to be able to pose them on a shelf and call it good. So I know some people are griping about these, I am sure, because of the lack of articulation. I can feel that already. But it's a robot. It's not Spider-Man. He shouldn't be doing backflips and things like that. There is articulation here, but it is not super articulation, I guess, is what we'll say. And we'll start with the head. Head goes all the way around, a little bit up and down, but it is blocked, of course, by the big bulk of his top section, we'll call it. But man, this looks like Optimus Prime all day. Once again, it looks like he walked right out of the animated series. I like it. You got the blue eyes, the blue helmet, the gray face, for lack of a better term. Just really good, solid looking Optimus Prime. You do get that second head here. Now, the second head reminds me of, I'm never going to remember the G1 Transformer. Kind of the second version of Optimus Prime we got with the trailer. I can't remember. Maybe I'll try to find a picture and put it up here. But it's similar but different. And that's what this head reminds me of. The later version of Optimus Prime. For me, all day long, you keep in the stock one. But I like the nice opportunity to have another one. If you're so inclined, if you like this one better, you have that opportunity to do that. But you get to the top bulk section of him. Very bulky chest, very barrel chest on Optimus here. You do got the 2 patented pipes on the side. This isn't transforming. Once again, we're not transforming into anything. But it definitely looks like Optimus Prime. The arms, legs, arms, arms, I guess they're arms. Yeah, well, they are arms. What am I saying? But arms up and down. You got a little bit of a up and down there you can move. But boy, it's not a lot of articulation. You can't get up like this, like so, because it's blocked here. But you do be able to pull this out, pull it up, and you can go side to side here. You just can only get that far. So there is a little drop down action here. It is interesting, the engineering on this. It is pretty slick how that works. But once again, it's not Spider-Man. You're not going to have crazy articulation with this one. You do have a bend at the elbow, but it is very minor. But you got the side to side. You can turn it. Yeah, it is blocked right there pretty good. So I can see some people saying this should drop down, be able to pull this out a little bit and then turn up to maybe get it at least totally straight. But it's not going to be in the cards here. But it's interesting. Hands removable as usual. Got a little arrow built into the sculpt here on both sides. Hands side to side, all that fun stuff. 2 fists coming in stock. I do love the bright blue and the red and, of course, the gray. This is so iconic, this area of Optimus Prime. And it looks great right here as well. We do got waist articulation. I was wondering if we could turn at the waist, and we definitely can. On the back here, this is where you can slide that jetpack in. I like that you can slide that in without taking anything away. It's not an eyesore. It doesn't look like it looks weird with it or without it. Very good engineering once again there. Kind of got that little thong going on with the blue streak right there. And then you get the yellow to break up the monotony of the colors. Yellow right here at the waist. Knees, very much more articulation in the knees than we do get in the elbows. So you do get some of that action. He can go right down to his knees if you want him to. I do appreciate that. As far as splits, we're getting a lot more splits than I think Optimus Prime could ever do. So we do got that articulation right there, which looks really good. And then, like I said, the knees move. And then the toes, we got foot articulation. Obviously, it is locked into his legs, but you do get some up and some down just a little bit. Enough to be dangerous, one might say. Let's see how hard it is to pull this hand off. Pulls off very, very easily. Plop another hand in. So those go in very smoothly. Very, very smoothly those go in. I don't know how he's going to hold this weapon. Holy cow. Oh, it gets in there. You got to fight it in there a little bit, but he'll hold it. You can get his blaster right there. Very iconic Optimus Prime. At least for me, him and his blaster, they go hand in hand. Look really, really good. He does got pegs on his feet. Of course, he will fit on the surfboard, but will he fit on a ringside collectible stand? That's the million-dollar question. And man, he does. I don't think you really need stands for these guys, but if you do, the ringside stands fit perfectly for him. So we do got that going on. So I like this. I tell you what, the verdict's still out. I'm not going to say this is a slam dunk winner, but it's a very good start. And I'm interested to see where the line goes. I'm very interested in the Megatron, very interested in the Grimlock. I think if I really like those like I like this one, I think I might be all in on the line. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. But man, the G1 original animated inspired version of Transformers is really what I want. I know I'm probably an anomaly. I'm sure people in the comments are going to say a Transformer that doesn't transform isn't a Transformer. I'm easily passing on these. But boy, I got an open mind to this. And in my age and what I want out of my Transformers right now, this is what I'm looking for. This blows away the RED line. But that being said, it's about double the price of the RED line. So you got to take that into account as well. But I like it. I'm willing to give Super 7 a chance. Super 7 does a really good job in most of their figures. I'm a big fan of the Super 7 line. As you see on the channel, we unbox a lot of stuff. Like all toy companies, they do have their hits and misses. But there's enough hits with this Optimus Prime for me that I'm all in. I'm all in picking this guy up. I'm looking forward to Megatron, looking forward to Grimlock. Hopefully they continue, and hopefully we can really build out what I've always wanted for many, many years. My animated look Transformers, big shelf, looking awesome. We'll see what happens with that. But let's compare him to a few other things. We'll compare him to, how about Lion-O? So you can kind of see a traditional Super 7 figure. You can see he's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit tougher. We'll see. But you got Lion-O right there for a little scale comparison. You got a NECA Ninja Turtle, because I haven't got around to opening up my Super 7 NECA Turtles yet. We'll do that one day on the channel. But there's the NECA for size comparison, about half the size of Optimus Prime. Not quite scale, I would say. I would think in real life this wouldn't be here, but if it's its own scale, that works. Its own universe, that'll work. We'll see what happens with the rest of that. We'll pull Lion-O and Leonardo off to the side, and we'll throw up Hulk Hogan. Another iconic 80s staple, the Ultimate Edition Hulk Hogan. We just unboxed this on the channel recently. You can kind of see how he scales there with Optimus Prime. And then if you're going to play basketball, as Optimus Prime, you might as well play against Dennis Rodman, the Toy Biz Dennis Rodman figure, until we get a classic Dennis Rodman figure, hopefully from Mattel very soon. We got this one we could put there. Maybe we could go one-on-one with the Worm versus Optimus Prime. Who knows? But there's Dennis Rodman for a little height size. And then, of course, I grabbed a couple of the Optimus Primes. You guys know, like I said, I've griped about Optimus Prime. Scale different all over the place, all mixed up. I think this is probably Combiner Wars Optimus Prime. I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. It's been so long. But there's a nice Optimus Prime. I really do like the looks of this one. Even though it's not quite to this look, it is pretty cool. You can see how much bigger this one. Obviously, this one does transform. But that's a different version of Optimus Prime right there. And then this was a really cool one from 2 or 3 years back. A little bit more animated look to him. A little cell shading going on. Optimus Prime. I got this Optimus Prime and Megatron to sit on my desk at work. And I brought him over for the show here. So a little bit of a comparison against a different bunch of different figures here, just to see what we're dealing with. Definitely scaling isn't quite in scale as I knock over that Optimus Prime. Scaling's not quite perfect with these, but as these being their own universe, it does work out for me, and it should hopefully scale correctly. Hopefully Grimlock's a little bit bigger. We'll see what happens here in the future. But there it is. There's a little long-winded Optimus Prime. Wanted to go through everything, all the attention to detail with this one, as this is the first time around the sun with the Super 7 Transformers figures. But what do you think in the comments down below? Let me know. Are you all in? Are you all out? Are you with me? Are you ready for Transformers that don't transform? Or is that a sticking point? If you're going to get a Transformer, he better transform. I get both sides of the coin. I'm just with, I want non-transforming in this day and age. But you guys tell me what you're looking for down in the comments. And you made it this far, you might as well like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell, follow along on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And of course, on Patreon, where you can get this video early, you can get exclusive content, bonus content, and giveaways over at the Patreon. So make sure you check that one out. But for Super 7 Ultimates, Optimus Prime, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.